Hello and welcome everybody for our next lesson. You know, this session is about how to create positive habits really quickly. There's a lot of it is going to be a closed eye exercise. Kind of for those of you who've been at Turning Point, you know that there's a whole closed eye section that we do, and there's a big part of tonight's lesson done with your eyes closed. So if you're listening to the recording of this, you know, and you're driving, you know, don't close your eyes, right? But this session is about how to create positive habits really quickly. You know that when someone is establishing a goal, there are two things that they really focus on. One is, of course, the accomplishment of the goal, and we generally focus on the tasks necessary to kind of get there. A lot of the principles of reforming a habit come from a fantastic book by Charles Duhigg called The Power of Habits. We've actually talked a lot about this in our previous lessons. What we also know is that when we're about ready to make a change, this new behavior is not yet a habit. It's not something that we're ready to live into. It's not their habit yet to live in a place of being that new person and engaging in those new behaviors. It's just not a natural part of who we are and what we do. What I've been, you know, really interested in for a really long time is how can someone actually develop a habit of being at the place that they want to be in their life. You know, Roddy and I, we've shared many times that we've explored the world of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And my coach and mentor, Paul Sheely, who is really the contributor of tonight's lesson, worked for a long time in the early part of his career as a professional hypnotist and did a lot of work with helping clients quit smoking and to lose weight. And people would come to him for a variety of addictions. He's worked with people with cocaine addiction before, people dealing with alcohol addictions. And one of the things that he learned is you can't focus on the thing that you do not want and try not to do it. You cannot focus on what you do not want and try not to do it. You really have to establish a habit or a behavior of doing the thing that you want to do and the things that you want to do that are productive and will move you in the right direction. Paul talks about very early in his experience, for as long as he remembered, his parents would tell him to look, you know, both ways before crossing the street. It's pretty dangerous if you don't. And as a little child, he heard it, but it didn't really kind of register. It didn't sink in until one day he saw his brother on the other side of the street and ran across the street to go see him between two parked cars. And he ran right into an oncoming car. And boom, he got knocked flat, rushed to the hospital. Turns out everything was okay. But what happened after that is you know, he was never told, you know, look both ways before you cross the street again. We call that kind of one trial learning, right? In a way, we've been looking for that one trial learning protocol that doesn't have to kind of kill us in order to give us that intense experience of learning. Can we have that level of intensity in terms of our neurological experience without having the negative effects of getting whacked or shocked every time that we did something wrong, like, you know, kind of the Pavlovian conditioning or B.F. Skinner and operant conditioning? There was a retired colonel from the military who said, you know, creating a new belief was just the easiest thing in the world. He had gone down and done 8 tours of duty in Vietnam. And he said on one of those tours, his plane went down behind Viet Cong lines. And he said he had to change his behavior in order to survive. And it took him about 15 seconds to completely embody the new behavior for his ongoing habits of survival. See, this is the kind of model in order to kind of understand that these kinds of shifts have to happen. And we can have these kinds of shifts, but can we have these kinds of shifts without being hit by a car or having to, almost die behind enemy lines? We've all heard stories of miraculous kind of behavioral changes that take place in hypnotherapy. A hypnotherapist worked with a smoker who had smoked up to 4 packs a day for over 20 years. Now, if you think about that, that's like literally having a cigarette going simultaneously during your entire working state. And it was a big habit. And using neuro-linguistic programming, neuro-associative conditioning, and hypnosis, he quit smoking that same day. And during the follow-up session a week later, he couldn't even understand how someone could ever begin smoking. He literally never had another thought other than, wow, I would never want to do that. I used to smoke cigarettes for years. As a teenager, I smoked. In my early 20s, I smoked. And when I moved down to Florida, I became close with an older gentleman. He's kind of a mentor to me. His name was Mr. Tucker. Mr. Tucker was just one of those fantastic community leaders here in West Palm Beach. A guy that all the kids looked up to. And he was in a really tough neighborhood. This was a crime-ridden, drug-ridden, gang-infested neighborhood. And Mr. Tucker was the guy that organized a Christmas toy drive. Everybody loved Mr. Tucker. He brought me down when I was with the Guardian Angels to begin to patrol the community that he loved. He and I became fast friends. And Mr. Tucker smoked. He used to smoke those little Chesterfields without a filter. And he developed lung cancer. I can remember going to see him at St. Mary's Hospital. On the way, I stopped and bought a box of Newport menthol cigarettes. That's what I smoked. And on my way there, I smoked a cigarette. I went up to see Mr. Tucker, and he was on his deathbed. And the nurse came in, and he had a drainage tube into his lungs, and he was wheezing and could barely breathe. And she put a suction to that tube and drained out of his lungs this thick fluid. I went out to my truck, threw the cigarettes out the window, and I never smoked again. We can have kind of this spontaneous change in our habits, can't we? See, this important idea is what we're examining. How do we change the mind in a way that it would profoundly influence the body's response? Paul worked with people who wanted to quit smoking, who had read all the research about how difficult it is, how powerful nicotine is. See, it doesn't matter what the withdrawal is, what's going to be from. It's always going to be the same way. If people paint a picture of how difficult it's going to be to change, and then you reinforce that, you keep playing how hard it's going to be when you quit smoking. People think, oh, I'm going to gain 20 pounds. I'm going to gain 20 pounds. If that's where our focus is going, you got to ask yourself, how difficult is that going to be as you continue to reinforce it? If you continue to reinforce how hard it's going to be to quit, guess what you're going to get, right? You're going to get a really difficult change. But if you could change your mind, it could be literally effortless. The basic process starts with how the mind brings up a representation of a way forward. So how does our mind bring up a representation, an alternative of our way forward? I'm going to teach you something called positive outcome patterning in this session. You may have been familiar with it with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or NAC, neuro-associative conditioning. In a similar way, this is called the swish pattern. The positive outcome patterning technique was developed by Dr. Fred Noah. So we did something like this in a previous lesson when I did a teaching called the anchor collapse. And in this previous session, we kind of held something in our left hand and held something in our right hand and brought those two things together into agreement. And I'll explain all that to you. But it's based on this principle called the path of least resistance. There was a book by an artist named Robert Fritz back in 1984, and he talked about creating our lives. And he offered the idea of visualizing two images simultaneously and letting your mind discover that the path of least resistance is toward the thing that you really want. The path of least resistance is really toward the thing that you want. It's not toward maintaining the status quo. This is the essential idea behind the personal development technique that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. If you think about what the path of least resistance is, it's the flow of energy, isn't it? If you pour water at the top of a hill and watch the way it flows, it's going to flow not just down, but it will flow around objects. It's going to flow the path of least resistance. The same is true with electricity, and the same is true with our energy. Our energy flows where our attention goes. It's not necessarily an easier physical, mental, or emotional path, but if our attention is already moving that way, it will do whatever it takes to move in that direction most effortlessly. Our consciousness flows in the same way. What we're interested in doing is getting our consciousness to flow toward the thing that we most desire to create. However, because it isn't the status quo, and because our mind tends to project all kinds of stories, worries, and fears, kind of the worst possible scenario right in front of us, the mind tends to think, I've never been through this before. What's it going to be like? You have to understand it's the change of mind that causes the effect that we're looking at. How do we influence our mind? Don't you just love that topic? Charles Duhigg wrote again in his book, The Power of Habit. In the book, he does a really nice job of kind of summarizing how we establish patterns, obviously from the beliefs that we hold. And he says it starts out with a cue, C-U-E. It starts out with a cue. And the cue represents the situation in which you can engage in the new behavior that will accomplish the things that you want. It's about establishing a new routine so it becomes habit. However, you've got to remember that the habit that we're going for isn't yet part of our ongoing behavior. We're also anticipating that it might be uphill to get there, or even painful or uncomfortable. So the idea that Duhigg suggested is that we have to focus on the rewards. Once the mind wraps around the reward of having already established a new habit, it's going to be much easier for you to follow through. Now, I explained the process of how to create positive habits really quickly. And I'm going to give you kind of a visualization where we imagine the rewards of having accomplished the goal or having done the task that we want to achieve. If we could think of the big picture and ask what benefits are going to come long-term, mid-term, and then short-term. And then what we want to do is we want to be very clear about receiving the reward. What would be the reward for the long-term change? What is the reward for the mid-term change? And what is the reward in the short-term change? The second thing we're going to do is think of a situation that would come up when you could take action and get your reward. What's an upcoming scenario in which this could take place? What we're interested in is those times, those situations where you literally have a split decision. You could take this road, which would get you where you want to go, or you could take the road you've been taking over and over and over again, getting the same old, same old. If you never change your behavior, you're never going to get any other result. If you always do what you've always done, we all know that. So here's that decision point, the cue. And you've got two possibilities, on the left hand and one on the right hand. On the left hand is the way you've been doing up till now, the way you've always done it. All the pain, all the suffering, all the self-judgment, all the kind of beating yourself up, the problems, all those things that are associated with continuing to run the same old pattern, the routine of the past. On the right hand, we're going to imagine the result of having achieved the thing that we really want and engaging not only in the behavior, but also in receiving the reward. Then we're going to run the whole scenario after that, so we can link these two together. Imagine that you're showing this positive outcome patterning on the screen of your mind. On the right hand, you're going to have the thing you really want. And on the left hand, you're going to have the old behavior pattern that does not work. You're going to have this kind of one thing in your right hand, and you're going to have this other thing kind of here in your left hand. Because we're neurologically wired to see this in our own minds. We're wired so that we literally think in pictures. We're neurologically wired to think in pictures, to see in our mind's eye. We're going to get a picture of two screens to the very best of our ability. And trust me, if you'll practice this technique, you will get better and better at actually pulling up the visual images. When I first started to do this kind of work, I wasn't really a visual kind of guy. I'm a kinetic learner. I'm not a visual learner. So it took me a little bit of time to be able to really see these images clearly and to be able to see them kind of not just in sequence, but we want to hold them simultaneously in the mind. We want to see one big screen on the right-hand side, that which we want with the reward, and on the left-hand side, the life of kind of struggle and the same old, same old. The image that you will see in your mind on the right side, again, is of you engaging in the new behavior, you loving it, you enjoying it, accomplishing the things that you really want to accomplish. And again, on that left-hand side, you're going to have that old pattern, the pain that represents its ineffectiveness. Now, I'm going to take you through 3 visualization exercises. The first one is imagining the goal so that you are clear about what it is that you want and what the reward is of having achieved it. The second is imaging the cue, and then at the cue, running the old routine and results and the new routine and the results. Then we will put the two together in a single process that you'll be able to repeat on your own. So let's do the first visualization exercise, okay? So for those of you who are live on our Facebook page, you can just sit back and participate in this. For those of you who are listening to the recording, this will be a great time for you to find yourself a nice spot where you can just take some time for yourself, just a few moments. The rest of this exercise probably take us about 10 or 15 minutes, but it'll give you an opportunity to really experience this and play with this for a little bit. You know, one of the things that I've learned as I've been a student of personal development and growth is you have to be open-minded to new ideas. You have to be willing to at least explore, play along. It is how I learned in neuro-linguistic programming. It's how I learned all that I went through in concept therapy, all that I went through in suggestive therapy and hypnotherapy, is a willingness to kind of play along and take the next step, okay? So why don't you go ahead and take a moment now just to place your feet on the floor. Go ahead and rest your hands on your lap and take a deep breath in. And as you do, just go ahead and close your eyes. And as your eyes close, just let your shoulders drop. We know that whenever we allow our shoulders to drop, it sends a neurological message to the rest of our body that we can stand down. There's no need for us to be on guard. We can simply relax and become aware of the space that our bodies occupy, from our head to the toes, and from our toe to our head. And with the shoulders relaxed, you move the breathing into that really deep diaphragm breathing. Just feel your body breathing you. And as you do that, notice you can become aware of the muscles of your face. And imagine your forehead just smoothing out. You're relaxing all around your forehead, around your eyes, your cheeks. And notice that your tongue drops from the roof of your mouth. As that happens, your jaw just relaxes and drops. You may notice that you get a slight hint of a smile at the corners of your eyes and the corners of your mouth. Now explore and notice the touch of breath in your nostrils. And feel it as you exhale and inhale. That it flows in a continuous cycle. No pauses or jerks, just one continuous flow. Imagine that the exhale and the inhale are of a similar duration, creating that dynamic balance, the law of polarity of in and out, the equilibrium within your body and your mind. Now bring to your mind an image of yourself having achieved the goal that's important to you. Think of one goal that's important to you right now and see if you can just bring the image of you achieving it, having already achieved the goal. Go out into the future just as far as you need to see. Just to see your goal already accomplished. Maybe it's a 2-week goal or a month-long goal or a 3-month goal. Maybe even a year-long goal. See the scene of you there before you. See yourself having achieved your goal and how that looks. What does it look like to have what you truly desire? Imagine stepping right into that image of you. Place yourself into the picture. Feel it in your own body. Feel it in your face. Feel it in your shoulders. How you stand. Notice how you stand or move. Confidence. The sense of accomplishment. Feel how good you feel having succeeded at this goal that was so important to you. Look around you and see what it looks like having already achieved it. And you're living that life now. Imagine what people say to you, congratulating you on your success, and how good that feels. Imagine a positive behavior that you engaged in that helped you accomplish this goal. A task or a behavior you knew that's really going to help you achieve what it is that you desire. As you look back on how you got here, you'll see the many positive changes that took place in your life. The behaviors you engaged in, the connections that you made, the many small wins along the way that led to this epic win that you now enjoy having accomplished. And gently bring yourself back to this place where your body is resting, your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap. Maintaining an awareness of this relaxation, your shoulders, your face, the touch of breath in your nostrils. Go ahead and gently open your eyes. So there you have it. You've envisioned the rewards of having accomplished what it is you desire. You've literally created the mold in the universal field of possibility. I call this place the fertile field of possibility. Now, what we're going to do is a visualization of an upcoming situation in which you're going to engage in the new behaviors to achieve those positive rewards. So we're thinking of it as a cue, a situation in an environment. It might be a signal from your body. It might be an opportunity that's presenting itself. It might be a task that you would put on your calendar where you see you need to do it, and then you're kind of supposed to do it. But some signal in your environment around you that says, now's the time to engage in the new behavior. You'll imagine two screens in front of you, the screen on the left and the screen on the right. And we're going to envision and hold the old ways in which you used to engage that led to not fulfilling your goal on the left-hand side, and the new ways on the screen on the right, which is about achieving what it is that you desire. We're going to hold both of those images simultaneously in the mind to train your inner mind on the path of least resistance, okay? Now, many of you have probably received some kind of an email, or you've been to one of my events and you've seen the phrase that I always use, hold your image. And the reason I have that is because it reminds me, in my emails and most of my seminars, that's what's printed on the lanyard. It's somewhere, almost wherever I'm teaching, because it reminds me that that is the key, to be the image maker and to be able to hold that image, okay? So let's jump in and try this again. So go ahead and just breathe in. And breathe out and exhale. And just go ahead and allow your eyes just to simply close. Notice how gently and how quickly you relax. Drop in and check the relaxation on your shoulders. Are they completely relaxed? And just be aware of the space your body is occupying right here. Your feet on the floor, you resting comfortably in the chair or the couch or whatever it is that's supporting your back. Your hands are resting. Notice how your body is breathing in. Again, feel the relaxation in your face. Forehead smooth down. And that little smile in the corners of your eyes and the corners of your mouth. This sends a signal of both safety and calmness. This is a very healing and restorative time for you. Noticing the flow of the breath in your nostrils really brings you into this present moment where you are here with yourself, right here and now. It's in this present moment where all of your resources as a mature human being exist. It's in this moment here. Now, imagine that you could sit back in a quiet scene of a peaceful, relaxing setting. Maybe it's a place in nature, a place you'd like to go on vacation. Just a beautiful scene where you're with yourself, with nothing to do, but just enjoying feeling very comfortable in your own creative imagination. Imagine yourself just sitting back or lying back. You can easily and comfortably view two large screens in front of you. These can be projector screens, large TV screens, a movie screen, or three-dimensional holograms, or however you want to do it is fine. There's a screen on the left and a screen on the right. Now imagine that you're going to be coming up to a situation soon in which you're going to be able to engage in a new behavior that will help you achieve the goal that you want to achieve. It's going to be a situation, a cue that comes up for you. On both screens simultaneously, see yourself approaching this moment when that cue is apparent to you. where you know now that you are at a decision point of what is your will to choose. What will you choose to do? On the screen on the left, it's what you've always done. And you've continued to get the same old results over and over again. The screen on the right, you're engaging in a new behavior, a new routine that successfully moves you in the direction of your goal. It produces an immediate step forward and a reward that indicates you're succeeding in achieving your end result. It may be just one thing that you have to do to attain your goal, and that's fine. Now see both screens in front of you and hold them both in your conscious mind, just simultaneously. The one on the left and the one on the right. See them both. Your mind knows that the path of least resistance is to flow in the direction of what you desire to create in your life, what you're choosing to live. Your mind knows that the path of least resistance is to flow in the direction of what you desire to create in your life, what you're choosing and empowered to live. Feel the energy of the screen on the right begin getting bigger, getting brighter, while the screen on the left starts to fade and shrink. As the screen on the left dims, shrinks, and fades, see the screen on the right begin to get bigger, bigger, moving closer, pushing the other screen out of the way. Let the screen on the left become so tiny. It's very, very small. It starts to move behind you and go way behind you, further back and further back. As the screen on the right becomes bigger and bigger, it fills the space right in front of you, big, bright, successful, wonderful. While the screen behind you is now the size of a postage stamp, further and further away from you. As you see the screen on the right that's now right in front of you, you see yourself as the success. You see yourself having achieved the reward of engaging in this new routine. You see how good you feel having accomplished it. Now play the image of you there in front of you at the cue, engaging in this new behavior. See yourself engaging in this new behavior at the time of the cue and accomplishing the reward. See a big and bright full screen and now step right into that image. Step right into it. Feel how good you feel having accomplished that new routine. Feel what that would feel like. Feel that new behavior accomplishing the goal that you've set on the screen of your mind. See it through your own eyes now. Embody it. Feel it in your own body. Feel how you breathe the relaxation in your face and shoulders. How wonderful you feel. Now imagine a snapshot of this. And step back outside of that image. And you're back in your quiet scene, looking at that screen in front of you. And now hold that image. Hold that snapshot of you in your hand. Hold the image right in your hand and carry that with you in your mind's eye. The image of you having achieved what it is that's most important to you right now. Hold it and bring it close to your body. See yourself holding the image and placing it right over your heart. And seeing the image become one with you. Knowing that it is now a resource for you to pull and draw. And now you can begin to bring yourself back to this present moment. Aware of yourself in the chair, your feet on the floor, relaxation of your shoulders, a smile on your face, the touch of breath in your nostrils, and gently go ahead and open your eye. Okay? So what we did with the path of least resistance is to see on the left side that thing which is in your life. And the screen on the right side is seen really as your emerging field, right? Your emerging reality. The thing that it is that you want to manifest and bring forward in the world. I always say, remember, you would not be able to hold the idea or let alone a picture of it if you weren't fully resourced to do it. The key behind this concept of path of least resistance is that you have to hold them both so that your body and brain get it. You're kind of wiring the two together. That it's not easier to live in the old way. It's easier to live this way of having this choice. So many times we give up in creating this new habit because it apparently seems easier just to do things the way you've always done it. And I'm telling you, it's so much easier to live in a way where you have choice. And once the brain embraces that, once the brain realizes that you really do have a choice in this, you don't have to settle for less. There actually is a mental model of perfection. You've just seen it, you've experienced it, you felt it. And again, as you play with this over and over and over again, I promise you, your awareness of the reality of the energy behind it will grow. And just really let that settle in for a moment. And as you begin to get more and more familiar with the image, more and more familiar with the feeling tone of that, more and more familiar with the frequency of having what it is you want, and really believing that this actually is a viable option, that is a possibility for you. And then what you can do is you can just run this, what we call swish pattern, or the positive outcome pattern. And once you do that and your mind embraces that there is an alternative to the past, your mind begins to seek the course of least resistance. And the course of least resistance is always towards what you want most in this world. And as the one shrinks and gets smaller and smaller, it goes all the way behind you, way back into the past. And this is now your new bright future. And what you do is you step into it so that you can associate with it. You got it? Then what you can do is you can just play with the scenario, which is the cue reward routine. I've done this. I can't tell you, whenever I get strict kind of on my diet, there's a couple times a year where I say, okay, I put on 5 pounds, and I know in my life, 5 goes to 7, 7 goes to 15, 15 goes to 25 pretty quickly. And so what I'll do is I'll know if I'm going out to dinner, as an example, I'll see myself sitting in the restaurant booth. I'll see the menu in my hand. I'll see myself at that cue right then when I'm going to make a decision about what I'm going to order. I see at the end of the meal when the dessert tray comes, and I see that as a cue. And rather than trying to make the decision in the heat of the moment when there's creme brulee or chocolate cake in front of you, I live that scenario before I ever even get there. And I play out the 2 scenarios. The scenario of what I would normally always do that gets me the results that I don't really want. And the option that I would really love to have, the course of least resistance. And I see myself making this choice in my life. And I see myself feeling it and experiencing it and putting the old one behind me. Let's try this one more time, and then we've got kind of a path of least resistance, okay? So one more time. Let's just take a deep breath one more time. And as you breathe in, just exhale. And you can just kind of drop back into this state. You know what it feels like. You know you've been there before now. So just go ahead and gently close your eyes. And just become aware of the space your body's occupying. Your feet on the floor. Your hands on your lap. Notice how relaxation just flows down through your body. Just feel how good you feel right there with yourself now. The relaxing of the facial muscles, forehead, around your eyes. Notice that your jaw just relaxes. So many times we just carry so much stress in our jaw muscle. Just relax. Allow the tongue to drop off the roof of the mouth. And that little hint of a smile on your face, the corner of your eyes, the corner of your mouth. And notice the touch of breath in your nostrils. As you inhale and exhale slowly and smoothly, feel that breath connected. These aren't two separate breaths. This is one continuous flow. Flowing deep so that the exhale and the inhale are of a similar duration without any jerks or pauses. And in your mind's eye, you can imagine an upcoming situation where you'll be called upon to engage in a new behavior. Maybe it's a new opportunity, an opportunity to say yes, an opportunity to go and work out, an opportunity to eat better, an opportunity to break an old behavior pattern. Imagine that situation as it approaches. Now, before you make the decision to engage in a new behavior, think about the rewards you're going to win by accomplishing what it is you set your mind to do. Imagine, just imagine the positive future of having already engaged in that new behavior. Just allow yourself to see yourself already in possession of what it is that you want. What would it look like? What would it sound like? What would it feel like for you when you achieve this new success, this new task, this routine, this goal today? See it. You've been given dominion over all things. You were made in the image of God. God is the creator, the image maker of all things. You are creative. What is it that you would create? And once you created it, and once you had that in your life, what would the reward be? See yourself in possession of it. Really see yourself. Just allow yourself to feel the reward. It's not just the goal accomplished, it's now the reward of the goal accomplished. What do you see at the end of the day? Just see yourself feeling great, feeling proud, feeling a sense of self-confidence, a sense of self-certainty, a sense of discipline, a sense of control. Even as you look at yourself there, right now, where you're sitting, you can already feel that in your body. You can sense it, and you know you can sense it. Just by beginning to think about it, you're actually manifesting that frequency within you. You're calling that forward in your life. That positive movement in the direction of the goal. Right from where you are, just right now you're doing it. Imagine yourself engaging in the new routine. Imagine how powerful this feeling would begin to grow as you engage in the new routine, the new behavior. And know that when that signal arrives in your life, when that cue moment comes to you, that you make the decision. You hold the power right there in that moment. Between stimulus and response lies your greatest power, the freedom to choose. How empowered you are to engage in this new behavior that gives you the rewards you deserve and want. See yourself skillfully with capability and competence, engaging in the new behavior, gaining confidence as you go. As you see it and feel it, imagine yourself stepping inside of it. Imagine yourself engaging in the new behavior. See yourself fully engaged. Feel your body going through these positive actions. The thoughts of what to do. The sequence of moves that you make. The achievements that you accomplish. And when it's complete, feel the success. And see yourself in possession of the reward. What's the reward? What's the payoff to you? Why is this so important to you? What would you be, do, and have once this is fully accomplished? What's the reward of that? Take a moment to pause and look around you. Really see the success that you've created. That you now enjoy it and feel it in your face. See if you can just feel it in your face. Does it make you want to smile? Feel in your shoulders, although relaxed. You feel engaged. Feel it in your arms, your chest, the way you hold yourself, the way you breathe. Feel yourself calm and relaxed, and yet energized, lit up from within. All the positive achievement that you've won. Every small win leads to an epic win. Feel the success and accomplishment that you are. Build that image. Take a snapshot of this now. See yourself taking a picture of this, creating this image. And hold that image in your hand. See yourself looking at the image of yourself. And know it to be true. And place that image over your heart. And feel it over your heart. Feel as your heart beats that the image begins to impress inside of you. That you become one with this image. And carry that image as you return now to the place that you're sitting, right here, right now. An awareness of the position of your feet and hands, relaxation in your breathing in your face, and the feeling touch of the breath in your nostrils. At a rate that's right for you, go ahead and just gently open your eyes. This is such a powerful exercise. What we're doing is imagining approaching a situation. We're envisioning the rewards and we're feeling it. And what you're doing is you're creating a new positive routine that you want to be able to engage in. You're literally building the neural network for this new behavior and habit to fire on. You're building the infrastructure for this new mental model of perfection to run on. So you go to that decision point and you play the routine out and you see yourself living the reward. Now, we're experiencing and mentally rehearsing the new behavior so that it becomes linked first in the mind and then in the body. When it comes to changing any significant behavior, whether it be an addiction of any kind, chemical, food, behavioral addiction, all of these things really are the same thing. You can't break an old habit. You can only establish a new one. Old habits are energy. They're a concept. For those of you who followed my teaching on the stick man, you know that Dr. Truman Fleet founded the concept therapy movement. The idea that you hold in your subconscious mind is a concept. It's a ball of energy. It's a real thing. And we know that energy can't be created or destroyed. It's there. It's formed. It can't be destroyed. You've been given dominion over all things. You've been given the ability to create whatever it is that you want in your life, to establish a new habit. And this is the way you're going to establish a new habit much quicker, much more rapidly, and quite frankly, with greater ease and more grace than most people would have ever dreamed possible. So I encourage you to go back, listen to this lesson, have fun with it, and use it for what you're choosing to create in your life. And enjoy, because you are deserving of all the rewards you want in your life. I believe in you. I believe in your dream. And let me just say, hold your image. Bye-bye.